The Baltimore Ravens getting into, well, I was going to say getting into the 4 p.m. games, but we're already into the 4 p.m. games. I didn't even realize that. The 4:25 games, I should say. Ravens at Cowboys. What is the matchup that matters here, Carmen?
Yeah, well, there is a rookie at center for the Dallas Cowboys and Cooper Beebe, and he is going to be going up against head-to-head with Nnamdi Madubuike, not only head-to-head in the physical sense, where they are going to be lined up across from each other, and that's going to be, I think you could argue that Nnamdi Madubuike has been the best part of Baltimore's defense so far this season. You've got Kyle Hamilton, obviously, too, who I absolutely love, but Madubuike has been certainly the guy that matters the most in the Baltimore pass rush. But not only from a physical sense are they going head to head, but I'm doing the head to head mental side of things
I see what you did
because
there. Nice.
I know. I don't know how much is put on Cooper Beebe given that he is a rookie, but usually centers are the ones that set protections. They are the ones that can kind of move the offensive line and make identifications as to how many down linemen they're facing, where their protection needs to be set to, all that kind of stuff. I do think that with a veteran like Dak Prescott, he probably takes on a lot of that responsibility given that he can and he's seen everything. But it's going to be this chess match between Cooper Beebe and the Baltimore defensive front because we know they like to mix up their defensive line. We know they like, their stunts and to move these guys around a little bit on the interior. How is Dak going to account for that? And by extension, how is Cooper Beebe going to account for that? Because there are definitely going to be things where they're going to try to confuse him. They're going to try to confuse this Dallas offense. And can both of those guys keep up? So a rookie is starting at center. I think Dallas is one of the few teams that can get away with it, given the fact they do have Dak Prescott now on his third contract with the team. But it still doesn't mean that there isn't going to be an effort to try and confuse these guys. And it doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
You love to see that Madubuike is continuing to be the centerpiece of that defense and that defensive line after the big contract, right? I feel like sometimes the worry is like, okay, am I paying you for something that you have, right. and not even like the guy gets paid and like he kind of like mails it in, but even if he doesn't mail it in, you always have to wonder, am I paying you for something that you've already done? Like, am I paying you because you were already good for me and not necessarily that you're going to continue to be good for me? And Madubuike is showing that even though the ink is dry, he is going to continue to be good for them, which I think is very, very important. Ravens run game versus the Dallas run defense. We know that the Ravens want to run the football, and they've been good at it. Our head researcher / communications director, everything, Dave Salfaro pointed this out. Like, the Ravens are good at running the football this year. They're not great. It's not like they're top 3 in every single category. They are 7th in total rushing yards at 336. They are 14th in missed tackles forced on runs, which, goes into the effectiveness of how well that you could run the football in any situation. 209 yards after contact gets back into the top 10, but it's just 8th. 9 on rushes of 10 yards or more. That's also tied for 8th. So again, like, we're top 10 in some areas. We're good. We're a good rushing team right now. They're looking to take that step into being a great rushing team, being one of the best in the NFL, that part of their game being feared, which it has been at times over the last 4 or 5 years. This is an opportunity for them, if they're going to be a great run team this season, to show it. Because the Cowboys run defense, 34.0, which is the lowest run defense grade as a team. That's 32nd in the NFL. In EPA per rush, they are bottom 5. In average depth of tackle, they are bottom 10. So this is just a ripe matchup for the Ravens to, you would think, impose their will, what they want to be on offense. This is the game to show it. And if you are going to go from a good rushing attack to a great rushing attack against the Cowboys, even on the road, is the team to do it against for how poorly they have played in that category over the last couple of weeks. So that'll be interesting to see if, the Ravens can take that next step, or on the flip side, does Dallas take that next step? Do they play better on the run defense side of things than they have yet this season? So we will certainly see. What about your plus factor in this one, Carmen?
My plus factor seems obvious when you first say it because it's Micah Parsons. And outside of the pass rushing, god that we've seen so far this year, he's in a contract year. He's got everything to prove. This season among edge defenders, he's ranked in the top 10. But going a little bit deeper on this, there's something that was very interesting that defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer said in Dallas. And so the way that the Cowboys kind of tried to attack the Browns in the season opener was they had a quarterback spy, and they used Marvion Overshown to do that. Now Zimmer was asked, are you going to do that again with a guy like Lamar Jackson, who is a run threat? And he said, we might have Micah Parsons do it. He's pretty athletic and fast. So who is going to be the guy that ends up spying Lamar? Going even deeper on this, do you need a spy with Lamar Jackson? Which at first sounds crazy. I get it. And, he's always a threat to scramble, all that. But we have not seen Lamar Jackson on as many designed runs as I think I was expecting. I don't know if you were expecting. When the Ravens got Derrick Henry, I was like, oh boy, here we go. Because not only do you have this Mack truck of a player in Derrick Henry, but now you have a two-headed backfield, one of which is the quarterback. Now, the Ravens have not. Lamar Jackson has been running it on a design run 7.2% of the time, which is still ranked fourth among quarterbacks. But there just aren't that many quarterbacks that have the skill set that Lamar Jackson has. Why they aren't exploiting it even more is kind of where I'm confused. Because I really did think that, is it because Lamar Jackson doesn't want to run? Is he still trying to prove that he's a passer in this league? I would think after his second MVP, he has nothing left to prove in that regard, and nor should he. Is he afraid of getting hurt? Is it one of those things where they paid him a whole bunch of money and they don't want to risk him getting hurt? I don't know the answer to that, but I do think that there is so much more room for this Ravens offense to exploit the fact that they have both Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, and both of those guys being threats to an opposing defenses that are not built to contend with two runners like that, especially when one is your quarterback. So I'm interested to see how much they try to use Lamar Jackson on design runs, and if then the Dallas Cowboys feel like, from what they've seen through 2 weeks of the season, do they even need to have this spy, and who that is? Can you just stick with Micah Parsons maybe, or is it Marvion Overshown, or do you just treat Lamar Jackson like any old quarterback? I don't know the answer. That's why I think this is good.
No, I think that's a really great call out by you. I think in all facets of it, I am curious with the Overshown point in particular, because he looked awesome sort of in that spiral against Cleveland, and obviously, like, Deshaun Watson's nowhere near the rushing threat that Lamar Jackson is. But I remember there was a play in week 1 where Watson's rolling to his right to the outside, and he sort of gets to the sideline, and it's basically like, hey, I got to find a receiver to throw it to. Okay, here's a Cowboys defender. It was DeMarvion Overshown. He's sort of coming to me. All right, I've got time. Let me look at my receiver. Oh God, he's on me. And it's just like, and immediately he just like tackled him. And it's just that closing speed from Overshown, who is, at Texas, he was that safety linebacker hybrid type of defender.
Star player,
so much speed and length. So I think it's a really great call out by you with whether or not it could be Parsons, whether or not it could be Overshown, or it could be one guy 1 second, one guy the other, and then what that does for the rest of the defense. That's a really good, talking point. I can't wait to see kind of how it plays out for this game. No doubt about it. My plus factor, I'll go with an obvious one. Dak Prescott here for the Cowboys. He just has not been the same quarterback that we saw last season. When we talk about living up to contracts and him signing that contract there, not that he can't. Everybody calm down. He just has not been as good as he was last year. 54.6 PFF grade this season. That's 26 in the NFL amongst quarterbacks on throws of 10 or more yards down the field, which is the area where he really needs to get better. 10 of 26, just 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So just simply put, he has not looked like the Dak Prescott that we saw last season, which, okay, he played an MVP level last year. He was incredible with what he was able to do. And even though he's not, the expectation that he would exactly replicate that, okay, maybe that's unrealistic, but close to it. I mean, he's got to be able to play better than what we've seen through the first 2 weeks. But after all, it is just 2 weeks. So we'll see what he's able to do here.